students, welcome to my channel English with Terry. I continue in my special series of job interview English videos. Today is a really special video because I want to talk about questions, different kind of questions we hear in the job interview, what they mean, and how you can answer them, okay? So a really important question that people can ask you in a job interview starts with, have you ever? Now, maybe the grammar in your language is very different, so we can stop and look now at exactly the difference. If I ask you, have you ever? I am asking about your past experiences. This is this essential concept, not a specific moment, not asking you about what you did 5 years ago, but if I ask you, have you ever? The other idea with ever in a question is if I am using the word ever in my question, have you ever been to Ireland? In the moment of asking, I am not sure or I don't know. The question here, have you ever worked in a restaurant before? And I received this question before when I was trying to get a job in Barcelona and trying to get a job in Dublin. The first thing they ask, it was the first thing they wanted to know. Have you ever worked in a restaurant before? Or have you ever worked in a software company before? And maybe they will ask you about your different experiences, or have you ever had a problem with a colleague? Have you ever been a team leader? Have you ever worked with Excel or other kinds of software, stuff related to your skills? But the basic concept is, in the moment of asking, have you ever, I don't know and I'm not sure. Have you ever worked in a restaurant before? I'm asking now, but I'm asking about all the possible time in your life until this moment. Have you ever worked in a restaurant before? Because I don't know and I'm not sure. If you say yes, I have worked in a restaurant before, or negative, you can say no, I have never worked in a restaurant before, or yes, I have worked in a restaurant before. Now, if you give this answer, like if the answer is no, it's kind of okay, the end of the question. But if somebody asks you, have you ever worked in a restaurant before? And you say, yes, I have worked in a restaurant before. If you look at the next question, where did you work before? And this is this crucial difference between the moment I ask, have you ever worked in a restaurant before? I don't know, I'm not sure. But when you answer yes, now I want more specific information. So the moment I ask, have you ever? I'm not sure, I don't know. But if you say yes, I have worked in a restaurant before. Now I use when did you, where did you, what did you? But that did you now is much more specific time and much more specific information. I know it happened. You just told me, okay, right. You have worked in a restaurant, but now I want to understand, okay, more details. So the idea here when you're using I have worked or I have been, it's an experience or action in the past, but we don't know when exactly. The person's speaking now, and you can say, I have been to Italy 2 times, or I have visited Italy 2 times. And the basic concept is it's an experience in the past and we don't know when. We're just talking about the experience. Have you ever been to Italy? When, right? Now, we call this grammar the present perfect, but it's really important to understand that when you have the verb have, after we can have different things. For example, a noun is time. If you look at the orange box here, you see I have time, I don't have time, and do I have time? You can see that in the negative and the question, they're using do not, don't, and then do for a question. But the have I ever or I have never are present perfect ideas, and after we will always have a verb. And if you look now at the green box and you compare, if you compare where you have and a noun and have and a verb, I have time or you have done it. Look at the negative now. In the orange box, we have I don't have time. In the green box, we have you have not done it. So there's don't and not. and then do I have time, and then the changing of the orders, have you done it? That's why we say, have you ever? That's why we do not use do or did with the present perfect in this way, because the verb to have is, in this case, is an auxiliary verb. Now, after have, if you remember your grid or your grammar tables from your book, you will see the present, past, and then past participle. We always put the third one, the past participle, after the have. So this is the structure. I, you, we, they, have, been, seen, gone, he, she, it, has, I, you, they, have not, contracted to haven't. He or she has not, contracted to hasn't. And then you change the word order for questions in the present perfect. Have I been, have you seen, etc. And then has she, has it. And with did, we'll use all the pronouns. If you remember your grammar in the present tense, we use do and does. For I, you, do is I, you, we, they, and does is he, she, it. But in English, this case is did, I, you, we, they, he, she, it, for all of them. And if you put the question word like what, where, when, how, etc., you will continue with did. I have seen students before where they thought, with the question word, you don't need did. Yes, you do. So these are the behavioral interview questions where they ask, have you ever? Right? Have you, maybe it's almost two ways of asking the same question. A person might ask you, have you ever had a problem with a colleague or team member? Or maybe they will ask you, tell me about a time when you had a problem. Okay? Have you ever had a conflict with a team member? Have you ever had a problem with a colleague? Have you ever missed a deadline? Have you ever made a serious mistake at work? These are possible examples of have you ever questions that you can hear in your job interview. And different ways to answer them about like yes, like everyone, I've had problems with a colleague. And when you start to answer the question, you establish that it's a yes. You can say yes in answering in the present perfect. Yes, I have had problems with a colleague. And when you want to give more specific information, so previously you established, okay, yes, I have had at some point in the past. But then when you want to give more information, one time when I was working in a hotel, or there was one time when I was working on a team or whatever, and that's how you give more specific information about you changing from present perfect to past simple. I have never had any real serious conflict with anybody I have ever worked with. Just another example. Or yes, during my career, I have definitely had disagreements with people I worked with. And I hope you have not had too many disagreements. I have always been able to get on really well with most people. Have you ever missed a deadline? No, fortunately, I have never missed a deadline. Yes, there was one time when my team missed a deadline. Okay, so do you see the difference? When the answer was no, fortunately, I have never missed a deadline. Okay, and then when the answer is yes, there was one time when my team missed a deadline. When you are establishing that the answer is yes, and you want to give more specific information about, well, when did it happen exactly? Or what happened exactly? So, have you ever questions are the moment when you're not sure or don't know. And then what did you is when the person in the interview wants to know more specific information. If you would like a free 15 essential interview phrases training video, please check the description below. You just need to leave your name and your email and you can start watching and take your confidence in job interviews from 0 to hero. It's a super cool training. I know you're going to love it. It's exclusive for my email subscribers. So the link is just below. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any more ideas for job interview videos, I'm really excited to make them for you. Please take a moment to click like and subscribe and leave a comment for the algorithm. And I will see you guys in the next video.